We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc in theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew.
Before we get all the way into episode 39 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast, we just wanted to quickly shout out the Brit Pod Scene, another podcast from the Commonwealth. We were recently featured in one of their, well, featured's a pretty loose term for recently briefly appeared in one of their episodes, episode number 4, Girls on Film, in which I can only tell you that they talk heavily about the Duran Duran song.
Almost exclusively.
You'll have to listen to it to find out, really. And then get to listen to us talking about stuff, sounding like the Commonwealthers that we are. Yeah, do it. Listen to it. British podcasts, talking about Canadian podcasts. It's fun.
Boom.
On this week's episode of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast, though, we are going to talk about our own little sovereign nation, Canada, and all of the things that go along with that, mostly bands named Toronto, and yeah, we're definitely going to have time to talk about lyric changes to O Canada, now that Andrew's brought that up. And this is the episode where you can write down your calendars. This is the episode that the Forgot to Grow Up podcast switched from talking about movies to talking about Canadian politics.
Boom.
So on a serious note, gentlemen, let's start.
Y'all got premieres?
You know what an MP is?
Y'all got jobs?
Y'all got jobs?
Can either one of you spell lieutenant governor?
Holy shit, L-I-E-U
100% no.
G-H-T
Nope.
E-N. Ooh, how many N's?
Nope. It's
No?
lieutenant is
Hold up,
just
I gotta write it down.
lieutenant's just lieutenant
L-I-
without the just with
Yeah.
stupid friggin' spelling.
L-I-E.
Scott, for bonus
Yeah,
points
that's
though,
what
do you know what the lieutenant governor? Well, first of all, do you know which part of politics the lieutenant governor is a member of, and do you know what he does or she does?
It's provincial, Scott.
Yeah, it's provincial.
No, because I was getting it mixed up with the
It's
one.
it's the
Queen
governor.
appointed.
It's the governor general.
It's the governor general's job. Provincial.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense then. All right.
But but it's pronounced lieutenant because we're weird like that.
Yep.
Because we're gangsta.
I wasn't even lying that we were going to talk politics on this episode of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast.
Apparently not.
Here we are.
There we go.
Y'all thought we were going to talk.
Y'all got jobs?
You thought we were going to talk policies. Nope. Just structure.
Nope.
Just structure.
Just positions.
I don't actually know how we're going to do this episode, so how do we want to do this, gentlemen?
Well,
Did you guys know that Neve Campbell is a Canadian actress?
I didn't know how to pronounce her name, but I also found her on a list.
Now you know. Does it make you want to scream knowing that she's Canadian now?
I only saw her as like the. I can't remember what that chick's in, but I know she's in a bunch of things. Chick. That's why I didn't write her down.
Scream.
That's the one she's. Okay, there we go. Well,
Yeah.
that's why I didn't write her down on my list of random Canadian actors who I didn't know if they were Canadian actually or not. There's obviously a bunch on my list that we knew that were Canadian.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Probably a third of my list was I knew who they were, and I was like, "Oh shit, you're from Ottawa? What?"
Yeah, I definitely concur with that, and I think I may even know which one of the two you're talking about. But yeah, my list is generally made up of a few ones I was surprised about, like Evangeline Lilly. I didn't know that. That surprised the heck out of me. I feel like I should have known that.
I had that clumped in a little Marvel actress group.
Oh,
there's quite a few.
So I know Kobe Smulders is another one. Who else?
We have. Oh, my list just disappeared. We got Rachel McAdams.
Oh, I forgot she was in Doctor Strange. Right? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we've got Emily Vancamp, who plays what's her face, Steve Rogers' love interest in the second Captain America, as well as Civil War.
Oh, she's a cousin.
The
Or
blonde girl.
not cousin. She's
the niece of...
the niece, yeah, of Peggy Carter. Okay, yeah. Right. I forgot. I didn't realize. I think I might have seen her on one of the lists and just honestly just kept swiping past. 'Cause there's not a lot to get through, but I was trying to find ones I actually recognized right off the bat who I liked. Which is, if people haven't quite caught on, we're talking about Canadian actors who we do enjoy their work and they like, but we're mostly talking about ones that we just were surprised about first.
Yeah, those holy crap moments.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously we could talk about Jim Carrey for a while. I'm sure we have. Like, I love Jim Carrey, but I think it's a little more fun sometimes to be like, well, wait, Victor Garber is Canadian? I didn't know that. I feel like we mentioned that before too, like, probably, but I forgot.
For reals, between Victor Garber and Nathan Fillion, they should shut down Hollywood. They can never top those two.
It's like this is all coming from our great nation of up north. I just love it, and like especially with Nathan Fillion, like he's one of my favorite. Like, just like especially when he does sci-fi. I love anything he does sci-fi. You know, obviously Firefly, and he's appeared in a few things. He was in Buffy for a few episodes. That was kind of.
Was he? I didn't know about that.
It might have just been one episode, to be honest. He was this preacher guy.
That's all you need, man.
Who was like super powered, but yeah, he was awesome. It was cool. So I like even seeing him in those little random like little things, like Lemony Snicket. He popped up for a half a season or a season, which was cool. So yeah, I love Nathan Fillion. But Craig, who surprised? Do you have any on your list that surprised you?
The ones that well, mostly my list is just people that I enjoy that are Canadian. But the two that made it to my list that surprised me, were Michael Cera. I didn't know he was Canadian, but that makes sense.
That's
given
not something to be proud of.
Given that he was in Scott Pilgrim Against the World or Versus the World.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense because that's like the most.
Which is one of the best movies ever made.
The most Canadian
filmed in Toronto.
movie I think I've ever seen. Yeah, and painfully filmed in Toronto, like you can tell.
Yep.
Well, for us people who know Toronto pretty well,
every time I watch that movie, I'm like, yep, I know where that is. Yep, I know where that is.
I've been on that bus.
Just so we're clear, I never took a TTC bus. I was beyond that. Subway, yes.
Want to make sure that that's recorded.
Yes. Bus, no.
It's on record. Step your game up, TTC.
No. I know operators. I would never get on a bus. Lauren Green was the other one, but I feel like I knew that Lauren Green was Canadian.
Lauren Green. Refresh my memory about who she is.
Lorne.
He
was
Lauren. I heard Lauren.
Okay.
I heard Lauren.
Nope, Lauren Green. And I'm gonna mess this up, but I'm pretty sure he was in Battlestar Galactica.
Now I gotta Google this.
Was he the
He was also in Bonanza. But yes, the old dude.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah, okay.
Oh,
he was in S.H.I.E.L.D. too.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep.
He was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a few episodes.
Yeah.
As a dude.
Was he though? Because he died in 1987.
Then we're not talking about this. Oh, you're talking about the original Battlestar old guy. Okay,
yes.
See, I was talking new Battlestar.
No.
Older gentleman.
I know who you were talking about. Yeah.
That's why I'm completely.
No,
okay.
I was talking about the original series.
That was my bad
Galactica.
for assuming the new one, not the original.
He was also on The Love Boat.
Yes, all these really old
old
shows.
Nothing I've ever seen. Yeah. Okay.
He was the Wizard in The Wizard of Oz.
He
was the voice of the Wizard. And he was also Theo Marshall in Vasectomy, A Delicate Matter.
That is an awesome title for, I can only assume, a film.
Hoping it's.
I really hope it's a short story about a dude who has too many kids.
I'm going to find out right now.
I just want it to be a short story about a dude who has too many kids, who's like, man, honey, we have too many kids. I can't provide for them. What are we gonna do? And she's like, I don't know. I'm Catholic. Yeah, I'm Catholic. Like, I'm not doing anything. And he's like, ooh, you know what? Maybe I'll get a vasectomy. And she's like, you do that, I'm gonna kill you. And he's like, ooh, now we gotta go do this in secret. And that's why it's a delicate, whatever it was.
It's a 1986 comedy. Directed by Robert Burge. It has Abe Vigoda in it. And let me pull up the summary here. A bank executive is not having a good day. After giving birth to their 8th child, his wife insists that he have a vasectomy, something he doesn't even want to think about. On top of that, he discovers that other family members...
Did you say giving birth to an
AIDS child? Child.
Which one of them has AIDS?
8.
No, 8.
8. Okay, gotcha. I heard giving birth to an AIDS child.
As in the number 8.
Pre-AIDS.
They have 8 children,
Okay.
not AIDS children.
8 okay.
Children.
Okay.
I so badly want to add that to the episode title list, but I'm not going to because that's
AIDS?
really bad.
It's not.
Yeah.
That's really not.
His wife insists that he have a vasectomy, something he doesn't even want to think about. On top of that, he discovers that other family members are stealing money from his bank. It sounds terrible. But the title is so good.
I'm going to lose my job or lose my nuts. Which comes first?
It feels just a little too maybe I don't know. I guess I can't think of a slang word for vasectomy that you could put in for it instead for that title.
No, it's a delicate matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, should we get back to the topic?
He was in Police Squad too.
I guess we should.
There you go. So we learned a bunch today.
He was in Police Squad.
He was in one episode of Police Squad. He was a stabbed man in Police Squad.
Oh,
but that's okay because I'm sure we'll come back to Police Squad.
For sure. And Lieutenant Frank Drebin. Lieutenant Frank Drebin.
I think they use lieutenant in the police force, but anyway.
Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Anyways.
Yep.
Craig, was that your whole list?
Those were the 2 that surprised me on my list. The
hit me with the rest of yours.
Well, one that. Wait, which one was it? Well, Catherine O'Hara was one that used to surprise me, but now that I know she's Canadian, it doesn't anymore. But at one point, it had surprised me. She's the mother in Home Alone and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was on SCTV, very popular Canadian sketch comedy show.
I actually know that one.
Yeah. Well, I only gave birth to all of the Canadian comedians. Back in
and it was on before
days.
Red Green way back in the day.
Yes, exactly. Had John Candy and all kinds of other actors on it.
Oh yeah.
It's where you got
all the good shit.
That's where you got Bob and Doug McKenzie
Eugene
from.
Levy.
Yep. That's where you got Bob and Doug McKenzie from. All of the really good stuff came from SCTV. So she was on that. So that was one that surprised me. And the other one that it surprised me in a different way. I knew Jay Baruchel was Canadian, and I knew he was a director and an actor. However, it did not occur to me that he was in How to Train Your Dragon and has made a ridiculous amount of money from that.
So much money.
So much money.
I look at him and I think, oh, he's about to graduate college. He should probably get his life on track. And then you realize he's significantly older than us, and he has more money than we will ever conceive.
He did one voice acting part, and he just shut it down. But then they were like, hey, would you like to direct a movie about guys who fight in hockey? And he said, okay. And then, it's just unfair. So I didn't know he was...
we need to get into voice acting, guys. We got the mics already.
We're halfway there.
I assume that's all it takes, right?
Everyone hire us, please.
I can pretend to do voices.
I can do this voice. I can do an impression of Craig from the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. Hi, I'm Craig from the Forgot to Grow Up podcast.
Hey, Archer. Good. This is Archer.
This is Archer from that show Archer. Oh man, this.
Anyways,
those are the surprising picks. I got a bigger list of people, but those are the ones that kind of surprised me.
All right, I'll start us off at the beginning of your list. Who's one of your favorite Canadian actors? Because I never like to be like, oh, pick your favorite.
One of my favorites, Will Arnett.
Like, what are your top ones?
Will Arnett's one of my favorites.
I'm glad when you guys had him on the list too.
Yeah.
I thought you guys would mention him, so that's why I left him off mine. I include him as part of mine. I just knew you guys would mention him.
Yes.
But I mean, Lego Batman, come on.
Exactly.
That's all it took to win me.
Arrested
he did a lot of great
Development,
stuff before
Bojack
that.
Horseman, Flaked. Oh,
I always forget he did Bojack.
He is Bojack.
So that's the only reason I might check that show out.
Who was that?
Bojack Horseman?
No, I know it. Who was...
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. I didn't know he was in that. I've never watched it.
He's the voice of Bojack Horseman.
Oh.
There's a lot of really good actors in that show
maybe.
too.
That
just
makes me a little
just
more
looks
like,
too
why
weird
might
for
watch
me.
that? Yeah, well, see, that's why I've never watched it either. I'm like,
It's surprisingly good.
I don't like horses, so
Oh well, you get past it.
that's turning me off. That's turning me off.
I know what you mean. Horses are weird. They're so big.
Or at least I think you get past it. It's kind of.
I don't know. Maybe.
I enjoyed it. It's not like a super. It's kind of on the serious side too. So
that's what I've heard. It's a little bit like it's kind of a darker comedy.
It is really dark.
Like,
it can get pretty dark.
Yeah,
one of
I'm
their
like, I don't know.
best episodes. It's pretty much the entire thing has no talking in it. Because he's supposed to be under the water and he can't talk under the water. In the place where the fish live, because it's like a mixture. The world is a mixture of humans and animals that act and talk like humans. And they do a lot of.
So it's like Animal Farm.
Kind of, but not really. They do a lot of parodies of real life people as animals. Which
I like that.
makes it entertaining too. It's pretty funny. It also is fairly dark. There's a lot of really good running gags in it, and the storyline is interesting. So I think it was worth checking out. I liked it. I watched all of it. I got addicted.
Huh.
But Will Arnett's in it. That's really Will Arnett and Paul F. Tompkins.
That's the main thing about it.
Yeah. I like both of those guys. So it was worth, and they're the main-ish characters. Let's see. So Will Arnett was one of them. Leslie Nielsen obviously has to be on the list of favorite Canadian actors.
Obviously.
Yeah, that was another one I knew you guys would have. And I was like, I haven't seen Naked Gun. I feel like I can't have that on here. He's Naked Gun,
Naked
right?
Gun, Airplane,
Yeah.
Police Squad.
AKA Enrico Palazzo, the real Enrico Palazzo.
Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo. It's the Empire. It's all kinds of stuff.
Hey, it's the Empire.
So Leslie Nielsen's on my list. I could just keep going, actually. We've already talked about Nathan Fillion. John Candy.
Yes, of course,
obviously.
John Candy. Definitely can't have one of these lists without it.
Obviously, he's about almost the most Canadian
so
on my list. We'll go with both Ryans, Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds, obviously.
One of those is a lot more important than the other one.
I agree.
That
I didn't put Gosling on mine.
Depends.
Gosling, I have no use for that guy.
Man, I'm gonna be in the minority here.
No. I was gonna say
he was a
against
liability
him.
in coverage.
And I always forget about that too. He was a liability in the coverage. But no, for me, I'm just neutral on him, so that's why he's not on my list. I don't.
He's just.
He's just never been
I
in
don't
something
know why
I
he ever made it. I don't know why he ever made it big.
He's
That's
pretty.
my thing. Like, he's an okay actor.
I think he's a good actor, but I've enjoyed.
I always just feel like he's an arrogant dick.
Well, maybe I've enjoyed everything that I've seen him in, and most of the things I've seen him in have been on. Like I've never gone and been like, I'm gonna watch that because it has Ryan Gosling in it. But I've sat down and been like, oh man, that's Ryan Gosling, and by the end of it, I'm like, I like it. This is good.
You're probably the same type of person who went to see The Notebook
in the theater.
It
was a matinee too.
It was a matinee. You're not proud of that, are you?
No, not proud of that fact at all. In fact, I've only ever seen The Notebook once, but it was not in theaters, and it was recently.
It was not in theaters.
It was recently too.
That's awful.
Yeah, I know. Women, man.
That's all we're gonna say about that.
That's where that's gonna end.
That's all I have to say about that.
Norm Mcdonald, Pigeon,
obviously.
Pigeon. And his stand-up comedy is fantastic.
Yes,
phenomenal.
I agree. I love his. I like how kind of like, what's the word for it? It's not dry, or is it deadpan? The word I'm looking for?
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, well,
it's kind of.
I like that he's not like his voice is kind of like stays kind of not monotone, but like very kind of, you know what I mean?
The way he says everything is like, can you believe this ridiculous can you believe it?
I paid for ice cream with a $5 bill, and she gave me fucking $2 change. Like, I feel like if he said that, I would laugh. I'd be like,
but he would
give you a toonie.
He would
give you a toonie.
He would top it with, I paid for ice cream with $5, and she gave me $2 change. You see. And that would be how he'd say it.
See.
And that would be the thing would be like, you'd be looking for the ridiculousness in what just happened, because he'd be like, you see, like he's trying to explain it to you, like you're not getting it. And that's what his comedy is like.
Yeah.
Is like everything,
exactly.
everything is like you don't get it. And everything he says on top of that is just far more ridiculous than what you started with. So that's why he'd be on this list of favorite Canadian actors. I got 2 more, even though I could go for far longer, because every time we mention one, I'd just be like, oh, I love that. Phil Hartman, rest in peace. One of a few dead actors on my list. He was in News Radio with Andy Dick and Joe Rogan.
I know who you're talking about now. Yes, he was also in
a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, he was like a louder guy, right? Like
kind of
not loud. But
he was also on The Simpsons a couple times, and he does the.
I think I know who you're talking
on The
about.
Simpsons. He's the guy who sells the monorail.
Yeah. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and his wife shot him.
That's partly why I think I remember it. Because I also listened to Joe Rogan, and I think I remember Joe Rogan telling that story one time, too.
Yeah.
Obviously, they used to work together.
They did work together. It's one of the first times I ever saw Joe Rogan ever.
I always, because how long ago I saw News Radio? It's News Radio, right?
Yes.
Yeah. News Radio.
Yeah.
Because I saw that when I was growing up. Like, I used to watch that before Just Shoot Me came on. And
well, he was also like the next door neighbor on Jingle All the Way.
Yes, he was.
That's what I was thinking.
And he was on.
Jingle All the Way guy.
I thought he was in that movie, but I couldn't remember.
Small Soldiers as well. He plays.
Is he the dad?
I think he plays the dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. He's the boy, the girlfriend's dad.
Oh,
he plays,
that's what it is,
Kirsten Dunst's dad.
Gotcha.
He's also.
He just plays it. Yeah.
He also was on Saturday Night Live for.
A few years, I imagine.
85 to 96, 153 episodes.
Holy shit! He was on the Page Master. What?
Well, was he a voice in the Page Master?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why we don't. That's why it's just a little harder to peg him down. Was he the pirate book, or was he the fantasy book, or the Dracula book?
No, I don't even think he was one of that. He was Tom Morgan, whoever the frick that is.
Is that the lead? No.
No, because the lead was Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He was the newsreader at the beginning in Magnum PI.
He was on.
So random.
He was a voice actor on the Smurfs for 7 years.
He was Pee-wee, the reporter in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. His big break though was Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo as additional voices.
1979.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he did a few things.
Break into Hollywood.
He did
He was Cap and Carl on Pee-wee Herman.
He did a few things. He did a lot of voice acting. Was on The Simpsons, obviously, which is kind of a big deal. 53 episodes, but I can't believe he did 153 episodes of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
That's kind of impressive.
Back when Saturday Night Live was good.
Yeah, and was in all of News Radio with some pretty big actors currently or formerly.
Dave Foley.
Yeah, another Canadian who I completely forgot to mention. How could I forget to put the kids?
Super
How
weird,
could I forget
yet
to
awesome.
put the Kids in the Hall on my list?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
All of those
Another
guys.
fantastic.
In your defense,
Canadian
those guys
series.
weren't on like the first 2 lists when you Google Canadian actors.
No, they were not. Unfortunately,
that's what I did.
Yes or no?
Now I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those guys.
Because Kids in the Hall, those guys were on a few things besides other Canadian TV shows. You had Dave Foley on News Radio, and then Kevin McDonald was in Lilo and Stitch, which is kind of a big deal.
He was
Pleakley.
All right.
They were also in Sky High. The why am I forgetting his name? Ego. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. That fantastic movie. Which also has what's her face, Danielle Panabaker from The Flash in it. But
Caitlin Snow.
Caitlin Snow. Yeah, they were in that.
I always forgot that she was in it too. I saw that poster not too long ago on like Instagram too, and I'm like, oh yeah. This is your second superhero role, then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. Oh, redemption.
Yes. Love a good redemption story. Although, Kurt Russell did not need a redemption story. He's perfect all the time, and you can fight me about that.
Why would I? I agree.
I agree.
Just easier not.
Snake.
Just easier not to fight, guys. Just easier not to fight.
It's the Canadian way.
The only other actor that I'm gonna put on my list of favorite Canadian actors, because she is a Canadian treasure, and is starting to branch out, is Michelle Milet, or however it's pronounced. She is.
Remind me who that
she's
is.
Katie on Letterkenny, which is arguably the most successful.
The woman
Canadian
the
sitcom.
girl you're in love with. Right?
Yeah, the Canadian version of Aubrey Plaza for me. Yes, exactly.
There we go. Yeah.
So that's how you got to sell it to me.
She's
now
awesome.
I might
she
watch
was in
Letterkenny.
Dry sense of humor and like dead face
and just ridiculousness. Letterkenny is probably the dumbest show I think I've ever watched, and that includes all of the shows I've ever watched. All of Letterkenny is ridiculous. But I think what sells it for me most, and I was actually going to bring it up when I was when we talk about what we watched this week, because a new episode or a new season came out, because obviously it's Canada Day. But my girlfriend is from a small town in Ontario, and she hates it because it reminds her of home, and I think that's what sells it the most, because that's what it's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
And the fact that it makes her uncomfortable with how accurate it is tells me how good that show is, I think.
Yeah, how truly Canadian it is.
Exactly.
It gets it accurate,
It is really accurate. So, yeah, she'd be the of the favorite Canadian actors, because there's a lot. We could keep going, and I could keep talking.
There's so many.
I still
obviously
have more
we
on my
love
list.
all Canadian actors. They're Canadian, so
yes. I don't want any. If any of you are listening to this, which I wouldn't really hold my breath on the fact that any of
give
them,
us a shout if you want.
You
can retweet us once in a while, guys.
If I left you off the list and you're listening to me right now, Jared Kiso, it's only because I didn't feel like I could talk for 20 minutes about Canadian actors.
Nathan Fillion, just like a tweet. We don't even need the retweet.
No,
just like it.
Just
like
get your buddy Nick Kroll to listen to it, and come on an episode with us.
Or at least call in and do a voice.
Yeah, just one.
Give us some Fabrice. The name so twice.
So nice.
Name so twice. Wow.
Said it 2 times.
Name so nice. You say it 2 times. So is that the end of your list?
I have other ones, but let's talk about them, and then we'll go. Well, let's talk about your guys' lists of favorite Canadian actors, and then I'll go back to my 3 that are not on your lists.
Well, I watched a little bit of Back to the Future this week because I put it on at the shop today.
Yeah.
And did you guys know Michael J. Fox is Canadian? Because I did
Absolutely.
not.
That's one of those ones I always forget that I knew.
I felt like he was from New Jersey or something. Nope. He just strikes me as like a
or like
northern
a New Yorker
New Jersey
kind of guy.
Yeah. he grew up in the coal mines of northern New Jersey. So
the black lungs are gonna get him.
He managed. Yeah. So he got out and he managed to just go in Back to the Future, but turns out he's friggin' Canadian, which is pretty frickin' sweet.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's like somebody every time I see am reminded that he's Canadian, it's always kind of like oh yeah, cool.
Look at that, we got A-listers. We got A-listers.
We got the Back to the Future kid.
We got tons of A-listers.
We also have half of the Blues Brothers. We got Dan Aykroyd up in this bitch. I remember when I found that out. I was drinking a bottle of his wine at I can't remember who, someone's house around Thanksgiving when we were in 12B. I believe it was our friend Katrina Frausel's former boyfriend. I believe it was his parents' house we were drinking at, and I had a bottle of Dan Aykroyd's wine, and I was like, this is delicious. And about halfway through, I was like, I fucking hate wine. This is disgusting, and I never drank it again. Bone story. Not your fault, Dan. My body. Just don't like wine. And then I was like, let's Google Dan Aykroyd. Is this really his wine? And then I found out it was his winery, and that he has it in Niagara, and he is Canadian. Not really a fun story, but I just don't like.
I was trying to think of some fun comment to say. I had nothing. I was trying to make a Ghostbusters
I don't like
joke,
wine. I like Dan Aykroyd.
Spoilers joke. I had nothing. Had nothing.
When there is some wine in your neighborhood, where you gonna dump it? Down the toilet.
That's definitely better than what I had, which was nothing.
Yeah.
At all.
So I'm gonna move on,
yes.
and I'm gonna bust out. Most of my list is just 2 TV shows or 2 groups of TV shows that I adore, superhero shows that are chocked to the tits with Canadian shows. You got the Arrowverse is just chocked to the tits,
so full
with Canadian actors,
and it's awesome.
We got some Tom Cavanaugh,
yes.
We got Stephen Amell, Emily Bett Rickards. Just those 3 alone that sells me. That sells me. I'm in. I'm
that's
game.
Enough to sell it, and it makes sense because these are all like filmed in Vancouver. But it's even more awesome to realize that it's like they actually are Canadians.
Yeah, like even if you took Stephen Amell and you took Emily Bett Rickards out of it, Tom Cavanaugh alone is enough to get me.
Oh, for sure. I love that guy.
I feel like he's like the most chill guy ever. I feel like if you bought him a drink
podcast?
No, I haven't. I didn't know he has a podcast.
He has a podcast with a comedian best friend. They do it like literally so sporadically. Like there are years in between certain episodes.
So there's just they're just like, you know what? We need to talk about this.
They just do it when they're in town together. What it is they share snacks and talk about the snacks. And then go off on tangents from that, and it's awesome.
Sounds like something we could do. Jesus.
Sounds like exactly what we almost do, just with movies instead of snacks.
That's true. We should add snacks to this. We should add snacks. No, we go on.
That'd be way too big a tangent. We never stop talking. We'll start a cooking channel, a YouTube channel.
Y'all got snacks? Dude, I tried that, and it's so much work.
Yeah, it takes a lot to film stuff, to film cooking. I can't even think of like more than one recipe a week. I eat like 4 things.
Cereal, Eggos, instant oatmeal, McDonald's. There we go. That's our 4 food groups right there.
I have not touched McDonald's in a year and a half, actually, in my defense.
That's because you worked there.
Yeah, well, that's why I stopped eating there too.
Yep.
Fair enough. Back to my my Arrowverse, capping it all off is the mother of all Canadians. We've already mentioned him, but he deserves all of the praise. Praise be to him, Victor motherfucking Garber. Okay.
I knew that was coming.
Come back to the Arrowverse, okay? Come back and play someone else. I don't even care. Give me 2 episodes for each series. That's it. Yeah, I know that's a lot of work, but just walk by in the background. Oh, hey, sorry, I forgot this in my locker.
And then be like, oh
my goodness, is he back? You don't know.
That's all I need.
I don't even need to have Franz drama. I don't even need to have the other half of Firestorm. I just want Victor Garber in like some type of Flashpoint backstory where he goes back in time to like talk to him about it. Be like, hey, I need your advice.
What if we got the one where he's the like one where Supergirl and the Flash are in their dream where it's singing?
Ooh,
and it's
the
that
singing
one.
version. Yes, a sequel to that. Then
we get a second Joe West because we'll bring them both back as a couple.
Yes.
So I had to look up who Victor Garber was because I'm not very good at this.
He's in Titanic too, right?
Yeah.
Is he?
He's the best part. Yeah.
I believe that's the thing that you guys have said before.
I definitely didn't mention it because I don't know him. But like when you said his name, 50%. I couldn't think of who he was.
That's fair.
Victor Garber.
Yeah, he was in.
He's a legend.
He was in Damages.
Damages was the other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've definitely talked about him.
And he was in
before,
Argo,
and that's fine.
And he was on criminally Canadian TV show Republic of Doyle.
Yep. He was also referenced in that one cutaway in Family Guy for when Brian does his play and he's looking at the. Oh no, never mind. That's not it. It's a cutaway where Stewie goes to check it out. Oh, it is. No, never mind. Scratch it. It is the Brian play, and he's looking through the playbill, and he's like, "Oh, how did he get Victor Garber?" And then it ends up being was it Randall Evan Battencourt? And he's super pissed. Because who doesn't want to see Victor Garber? I want to see him. I want to see him start a quarterback this. I want to see him start a quarterback this week for the Toronto Argos.
Anybody could start a quarterback for the Argos, and they'll put up more than 1 point.
Which is the most Canadian thing to ever hear. Okay, Victor Garber playing quarterback for the Toronto Argos in the CFL.
And then watching from the sidelines
at
Score Rouge
at BMO Field, sponsored by Molson Canadian.
Yep, and Tim Hortons.
My Canadar is going off. So moving on from the Arrowverse, moving on, back in time, Back to the Future styles.
Talking about
we're going
Smallville?
to Smallville.
Yes, you are.
And this one's loaded to the tits. We got, hold up, I gotta look at my list because I always forget which Ashmore brother is which. Aaron Ashmore, who I didn't realize they were twins. I thought they were the same dude.
It's because a few times they play the same
twins.
Role. Sometimes they'll do the same role.
Probably. Bust out some Jimmy Olsen up in that bad boy.
Yeah.
We got Kristen Krug, who is awful, just the worst. The worst, okay. Hate Lana Lang. No need for that. Ugh, no.
Yeah, we've been
She's
over
Canadian.
This. I think she's
Canadian,
involved in
which kind of bums me out.
Yeah, she's a weird
yeah,
involved in some weird sex thing now, so I left her off my list.
Probably. Well, I know Chloe was, so why wouldn't?
Maybe I'm getting mixed up with Chloe. Maybe
maybe
it's both of them. Who
knows?
It was a little bit both.
Was it Allison Mack? Is that her name? She was involved in that sex cult thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Kristen Krug was. I got no use for Lana Lang at all. It's nice to see that she's Canadian, but I don't need Lana Lang ever. Moving on from her, we got your beloved Supergirl.
Yes, my beloved.
She's Canadian. Okay.
I know. I can never pronounce her last name though.
Vander or something. Take a stab at it.
Yeah, it's
something like that.
I wrote it down, but it's literally V and then it's scribble.
Yeah, Supergirl.
Yeah, I know who she is.
Cora.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
Exactly.
She's Canadian, which is awesome. But most importantly,
for you, for both of us,
really. Praise be to Blur. We got Erica Durance, Lois Lane.
Our
the most important part.
Our Lois Lane.
The most important part
is
my
Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Like exactly. Like I like what's her name who plays it now?
Amy Adams.
And you gotta
she does
tip
a good
your
job.
hat off to the original, obviously. But she will always be my Lois Lane.
She will always be Erica Durance.
I grew up with her.
For reals, okay.
At a very formative time for a man. Meaning puberty. It was puberty.
Yeah. There was probably some dirty thoughts going through Scott's mind. But
We're not going to talk about those. We're not going to talk about those. We don't know
that is for a different episode. My mom does. But moving on from Lois Lane. Never mind. I could never move on from Lois Lane. Who else do I have on my list that is noteworthy? Stella from How I Met Your Mother. Sarah Chalk or Chalky? Chalk? However you pronounce it. The blonde one. Stella. The one who runs away and marries the dickhead who decides to write
the chick from
the karate
Scrubs?
Teacher.
She was in Scrubs too.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she was Canadian.
Yeah, she's Canadian. Oh. Poor Ted.
I missed her.
I'm sure if he knew she was Canadian, he would have tried harder to fight for her, which I'm glad he did not because she was my least favorite.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Ted's girlfriend.
I feel like he could have fought any harder. She left him at the altar, man.
Like
he did, like he thought he could have. He thought he won the race, man. But then someone told him the next day he wasn't in the race anymore. He was disqualified.
Like, dude, you were part of the prelims, okay? You didn't even pass that.
Yeah.
Damn. So moving on from that, I'm going to pay my respects to a fallen Canadian masterpiece, majesty, whatever. He wasn't an actor, but he was a hell of a good comedian. Michael Mcdonald, he passed away last.
Yeah, he's great. I remember growing up watching his Just for Laughs.
Yep. Oh, he was hilarious. He does a bit about aliens and about getting kidnapped and how that would be better than actually being at home with his wife. And I piss myself laughing at it every time because I'm like, probably. I'm not married, so I don't know, but probably. So I'm going to pay my respects to him because I love that guy. I have one of his DVDs unopened because it just bums me out. He's one of my favorite comedians. I would rather watch his YouTube clips than open up that DVD in case it becomes worth 45 loonies one day.
45 loonies.
45 loonies. One roll of loonies and then most of another roll of loonies.
The roll is 50.
No, that's a toonie, man.
That's the tuning? Okay, that's my bad.
You put 25 in.
I haven't rolled coins in 2 years.
Oh, are you a Coinstar guy? Do you Coinstar?
We used to at McDonald's.
Oh, come on, man.
When it worked.
How much you guys talking about having coins?
Well, no, it's not Coinstar. No, I got that mixed up. No, it wasn't Coinstar at work. It was just We had a coin sorter. We have I know what a coin sorter. I got that mixed up. No, it was just a coin sorter.
I thought you were one of those guys who takes your bucket of coins, dump it into the coin star.
No,
it counts it for you. Tells you
I just don't have
you had $104.35 when in reality you had $147.25.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It sounds like you got burned.
Because it steals from you.
It sounds like you got burned by a coin star machine, man.
Because it's not me. I always roll my change.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lose out on 15, 20% that they take.
They take some money.
Just for the convenience. Like, piss on that. I'm not giving them my hard-earned found change.
Where's the fun in taking your coins to the coin star machine anyway? Like,
exactly. You haven't lived until you count to 45 dimes, and you're like, shit, is that 45? You gotta put them down to count.
That's why you sort them into piles of 5.
I'm a stacker.
Yeah.
Do 5.
And half the fun.
5.
Half the fun is rolling your coins is going. Do you think the dollar store has coin wrappers? Because that's half of what happens to everybody who ever rolls coins in this country. Is do you think Dollarama has coin wrappers? Where do you think I can get coin wrappers?
They always do.
Where do you think I can get them?
Do
they even make paper ones? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I have. Hold up. Boom. There we go. Paper. Coin roll.
It was an important tangent.
You gotta put it up to the mic a little closer so they can hear it on the audio.
Yes. Can we get some?
You guys hear that?
Crackle the paper.
There we go.
There you go.
Is that a loony or a toonie?
That's a toonie.
Dear CBC, please pick us up. Our audio is really good.
It's really
we have
good.
sound effects, man.
So I'm almost on my list. You guys want me just to finish?
Yeah, just finish yours and I'll top off with what we missed.
Okay, cool. Because Craig picked up most of my
well,
that's
stuff.
Why
I kind of tried to slow down. I was gonna put him down. Spaceballs. Okay.
Love him.
With John
Candy,
obviously.
May the Schwartz be with you.
That movie is so
Roxy.
good. And he was on SCTV. And he was
he was one of
Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Which one was he? Was he Bob or was
Doesn't
he
matter.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
It's him and Dave Thomas.
So the other thing on my list, I've got the other Ashmore brother, Sean, who plays Iceman.
Yep.
In the X-Men movies.
One of them's also in Killjoys, so I give him credit.
Yes,
for that.
I believe that was Aaron who was in.
He is Bob McKenzie, by the way.
I mean, I have a 1 in 2 chance of getting that right.
Yeah, you do.
Take a stab at it.
Yes.
My last two, I've got Will Sasso, who for some reason I feel like he was just born and raised in Chicago.
I always forget about him too.
I see him on things. I see him playing the New York City bartender in How I Met Your Mother,
yeah.
and I see, oh, that toupee. But then I hear his attitude and his viciousness. I'm like, oh, you were definitely raised on the southwest side of Chicago, for sure.
With bad Leroy Brown.
Yeah. He's the baddest thing in the whole damn town.
Yeah.
Meaner than old King Carl.
Meaner than Junkyard Dog.
Meaner than Junkyard Dog. Absolutely. Anyway. But turns out he's Canadian, okay? Which makes me feel like he's actually a big softie.
So then was he born in...
He's going to come at you and be like, hey, listen, dickhead.
Was he born in South Detroit then instead?
Possibly. Who knows? Windsor. But I don't know. Google. I feel like he was...
I think it's Toronto.
Probably...
That's
Toronto?
close.
If I'm
I was thinking... That makes sense.
Because he was on Fire and the Kids a couple times. The podcast.
Was he? Actually, yeah, he was on last week, I believe, wasn't he?
A couple weeks ago.
Him and Krista Lee were there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I go Will Sasso. And then my last one, and I don't even really like her as an actress, but I feel like I would really like her in person. Like, I feel like if I met her, we'd hit it off and we could be friends. We could text stupid little jokes at each other. Be like, hey, what do you call a rhinoceros who can text? I'd be like, what? I'd be like, I don't know. Rhinoceroses can't text. Stupid stuff like that. Ellen Page. I feel like she would be a bro. Like, you know, I feel like she would be a super chill friend who I'd be like, I don't personally like your movies, but I like you.
No, I could see that. And I feel like some celebrities prefer that. Like, they don't want all their friends just be, like, people who just gawk over their movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you two could
like
get along.
Like Gal Gadot.
But I guess that means it's my turn to say some names and stuff.
Say some stuff, Scott.
Say some stuff.
Dance for us.
Words.
We've covered most of them.
Is Benjamin Cumberbatch on your list?
Benjamin.
No, I know that he's obviously Australian.
Obviously.
Guys, come on.
From the United, was it United Colors of Benetton or
he
whatever?
was born in Tasmania.
Ooh, in the
town
city
of Exton. Yeah.
There we go.
The stoplight of Exton.
Yep.
It might not even. I don't even think it has a.
Dude, let's be real. It's got a yield sign.
I was gonna say it probably doesn't even have a
sign.
stop sign. There's just like there's three
yield,
people.
One yield sign.
I don't even know if it's signed.
It's a faded yield.
Three people.
There was
no
sign that's got
intention there at one
three.
point, but 3 people drive there a year, and they never drive there at the same time.
One yield sign that has 3 very poisonous snakes climbing up to the top to eat some type of poisonous spider that then gets picked up by some type of poisonous hawk. Because that exists down under.
But Benjamin Cumberbatch is not from...
Benjamin Cumberbatch.
Yeah, no, I was making a joke.
I know.
So I screwed his name up.
I know. Just so we're all clear,
stretched that
let's get back on track here, guys.
Yeah.
Back on track.
On the other side of the world there for a minute.
Yep. Anyways, so some of the ones I mentioned Jim Carrey before. He's a classic, obviously. It's hard not to make one of these lists without him. Brian Reynolds. We mentioned him
Brian
before.
Reynolds?
I said
Yes,
Ryan.
I heard.
I said Ryan.
No, you definitely.
I will
listen back to
roll
the
back
audio,
the
Ryan.
tape. Let's roll back the tape right now. Right now. Here we go.
Roll back the clock.
Here it is. Yep, Scott definitely said Brian.
Brian Adams is phenomenal.
Yes, he is.
If that
I don't know if
counts
he
for
acted in
anything.
anything though. Let's find out.
I don't know.
Continue with your list, Scott.
Let's find if he's in. Do you think he's going to be in Zoolander 3 as the uncle to Hansel? So hot right
He
now.
might be.
Anyway, Scott, continue while Craig does this research.
So yeah, those guys. Then I had Shatner because I always
For
like
sure.
the idea that Shatner is, and it kind of, to me, it makes sense with his personality. I'm like, yeah, you grew up in a cold winter. That's how you develop that personality.
Here's the thing about Bill Shatner, okay?
Yeah.
I don't like him in any of the stuff he's the star of, outside of that one show he had on, was it Discovery or History, where it's like Bill Shatner or William Shatner like finding shit out about the world, like where he goes and debunks stuff.
Yeah.
Like that is the only thing he's starred in.
Brian Adams
really liked.
was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
What? Well, yeah, he sang the
He
song.
was a balladeer, but he was uncredited. No, he was an
Really?
actor.
Oh.
He was in it.
He was an actor.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
'cause I know he did
I
the
know
song.
he's
Well,
been.
he's probably just a
he's done
background guy.
soundtrack. Yeah, he's done soundtracks
That's
for
true.
a billion.
He's
things.
probably like Huey Lewis in Back to the Future then, where he's like, I wrote the song, I want to be in it.
Yep. That's probably what it's like. Because he was in, like, obviously he did soundtracks for a ton of
Or the
things.
studio's like, we're paying this guy already. Let's get him as an extra.
Let's just
too.
stick his face in.
Let's save
get
some
all
money
the
on
Canadians.
extras.
Y'all like Kevin Costner? Y'all got jobs? Anyway, so William Shatner, I don't like him in anything he stars in, but I like him in his stupid little bit roles. Like when he shows up as Juliet O'Hara's father in Psych.
Yes.
I like that
Yeah,
very
no,
much.
I know what you mean.
Total
He's
waste of time, but I like it.
He's definitely better in kind of smaller doses sometimes. That's probably why I don't have as much
I-
problem with him. Like I never binge watched the original trilogy, or not the original trilogy, the original Star Trek.
Star
I mean.
Trek. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to handle.
Getting my stars mixed up now. It's late night.
I would have liked to see him as a captain on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
That
would have been. I would have loved
Hey,
that.
listen,
actually would have been really great. I
Brooklyn
think he'd fit
Nine-Nine.
in really well.
Yeah.
Like he's just so relaxed about everything and just doesn't care. And Jake loves him, but then Terry and Amy just start freaking out because he just doesn't give them any direction, no push. That'd be awesome. Him and Boyle would be very similar. Like they'd both just be sitting there. Boyle would be like, "Oh man, my yogurt's too hot," and William Shatner would be like, "Yours too?" And he'd be like, "Oh shit." And then he'd just fuck everything up like Hitchcock and Sully. Like he'd be perfect.
Yep. Yes, he would.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
I want to see him as lieutenant, though. I don't want to see him as captain because Holt is the best. Let's make him like second in command, lieutenant, so that way when Holt goes on vacation with Kevin.
You could do. You could send Sergeant Terry on paternity leave, and
Ooh, Nice. Because he's having a fourth kid. Terry makes big babies.
Yes, and then bring in Bill Shatner to do
Sergeant Shatner.
Yeah, and even call him Sergeant Shatner, but have it be like you guys have seen Office Space with what's the character's name? Michael Bolton, who's has the same name as Michael Bolton.
Yeah, but
not
Michael Bolton.
But then they're like, wait a second, your name's Bill Shatner? He's like, yeah, but we're not related. But have it be Bill Shatner. Yeah, that'd be funny. I think at least.
That'd be hilarious. That would be like
career
almost
resurgence.
like Julia Roberts playing Julia Roberts in Ocean's 12.
Yeah, I got nothing else to say about that.
Nope, me neither.
Guys.
I think that's. I think we hit the end of the Bill Shatner train.
This is the most fame that William Shatner's had in quite some time. So
I wouldn't go that far, but maybe.
I stand by it.
I feel like he's still selling out more like convention halls than we ever will.
That's true. That's true. He's got a market. We don't yet.
Still working on it. Anyways, I didn't have too many more that you guys haven't covered. I noticed neither of you said Daniel Sutherland, which made me
Donald
concerned
Sutherland.
Donald.
What I said?
Come on, man. Daniel.
That's
two.
I wrote this wrong down.
That's two.
Donald and Kiefer. Yeah.
I gotta write these
I was
down.
waiting to see if either one of you guys would say Donald Sutherland.
I had
He is on my
D
list.
Scribble Sutherland written down straight, but I have D with a scribble. I took a stab at it, but yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. The Hunger Games guy.
I like him as an actor, but I wouldn't put him near my top. Like he's kind of like Alan Thicke to me. Like he's Canadian, but like he's just not for me. He's not my cup of tea.
He did the voiceover for the 2010 Olympics too. For the opening ceremony.
I feel like
something
for Donald Sutherland, the thing that tanked it for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Him and Kiefer did a joint Western movie together, probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Can't remember what it's called.
We're gonna find out.
But
though.
Donald is obviously the father. Okay.
Yes.
Kiefer plays this rogue gunman, who after the war came back and he couldn't find his place in the world, and he ends up killing a guy, so he leaves. And then he comes back after his mom dies, and he tells his dad he's got one job to do, which is to finish doing something he promised his mom he'd do way back when. I believe his dad is a preacher. Don't quote me on it, but I believe his dad is a preacher. Donald's a preacher, and that was probably, possibly, it's one of the worst movies I've ever watched.
Yeah, but you haven't seen the 15-17 to Paris.
I was going to say it's one of the worst movies I've seen start to finish twice. That movie was so bad that I sat there and went, no, it can't be that bad. I just fell asleep or something. So I watched it again, and it did not get better. It did not get better.
That's fair. I've never seen that. I just always like he has a lot of I want to say bit roles, but smaller roles and stuff. And I just always like the way he like pops up. And I just thought it was interesting that he was Canadian. I always assumed
he's like the Canadian.
British, to be honest,
he's like the Canadian version of Sam Elliott.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes,
so I felt like I had
that.
to mention him too because he's a very respectable person.
He was
like Donald Sutherland deserves his own truck commercial. Nothing huge. Like give him the Ford Ranger or something. Like
they are bringing that back.
Give him the Chevy Cruze. Okay, he can have the Chevy Cruze commercials. Like y'all got cruises. There we go. Well, I mean, Dennis Leary's got a truck. Sure. Sam Elliott's got a truck. It would, you can't give him a truck. Like he's got to have something better. Give him a Lincoln Navigator. There you go. Just ball so
but
hard.
Matthew McConaughey would have issues with that.
That's true.
Oh, that's true because he is Lincoln. Damn. Could we make him Cadillac then?
We could.
That could work.
Screw. When they bring back the Ford Pinto, then we'll give that. We'll give the Pinto to Donald Sutherland. How does that sound? Can we agree on that?
Sure.
He was born in St. John, New Brunswick.
Damn, small
didn't know that. That you don't get much more Canadian than that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So he was
the only thing that might be different is like Tatamagouche.
That's true. With the brewing company, he was on my list. I just wanted I wanted to leave him for one of you two guys because I considered him to be like a test of.
See, and I
Canadian
said him
lists.
because he's one of the ones left on my list that you guys haven't mentioned yet.
There you go.
But I pretty much just had one left that we haven't already covered that I think. Yeah, 'cause Andrew covered a lot of the Smallville and Arrowverse ones I wrote down, and all the MCU ladies, of course. But the last one I had was, I kind of need you guys to double check this one, because this is another one of the ones that kind of surprised me. Is Keanu Reeves Canadian?
That sounds right.
Did I say his name right?
He is. Yeah, Keanu Reeves.
You did nail that one.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Okay.
I want. He's from somewhere in the GTA, I think.
I thought so. I think that's what the
He's actually
website I saw was, but I was like double checking these things because I was like, wait, where is he?
He was so he was born in Beirut, Lebanon.
Oh. That doesn't make him very Canadian.
His father was born
because he was born.
His father was born in Hawaii. And
he's a mutt.
Hang on.
Where's Canada coming in as the part?
I don't know.
That's why I wasn't sure.
He lived here. At
his
least.
mother is originally from England.
I know
After his parents' marriage dissolved, Keanu moved with his mother and younger sister to New York City, then to Toronto. So he lived in Toronto.
Boom. There we go. I'm pretty sure he still has a place there.
Well, I'd imagine so, since he was on this list of Canadian actors I read.
He's in some of those like Canada. Come on, you're not doing something right. Like one of those like Canadian get your head out of your ass commercials that have been on TV recently.
But he's not in the Sick Kids commercials, right? Along with Ryan Reynolds.
Not. I don't think so.
I don't watch commercials.
He's with all the others.
Neither do I.
He's in the commercial.
Ryan Reynolds.
It's got the guy from Suits. It's got the guy from Suits in it.
Yeah, because he's Canadian.
It's got yeah. Ooh, that does nothing for me.
Well, I was just like,
Meghan Markle ruined that show for me. Like,
fair. Wait, what about her?
That's not true.
That's a different topic for a different day. But yeah, Keanu's awesome. Dude. The Matrix, all those fun stuff. I watched Bill and Ted this week, both of them, and I love that guy.
Currently resides in Los Angeles, California.
The Replacement.
That makes a lot more sense.
That guy gives away more money than we'll ever make.
Yep.
And
freaking send some our way. Crowdfund us. Come on, Keanu.
Played ice hockey for the California Senior Hockey League.
Senior?
Well, I mean...
Are you sure it's not senior?
In 95, so it's like men's league.
Are you sure it's not senior hockey league? It is California.
He was raised in Toronto from age 6 to 21. Could have been a professional...
that makes him Canadian.
Yeah, he's definitely
15
Canadian,
years makes you Canadian.
Could have been a professional ice hockey player for the Canadian League. Could have tried out for the Windsor Spitfires, but set his heart on acting, leaving hockey as a hobby. Auditioned to be in the Etobicoke film.
That's Canadian.
Yeah,
that's Canadian.
He tried to be in an Etobicoke acting school, arts school, or whatever. Got rejected.
Ooh, Etobicoke.
Yeah, I know. That old home.
Yeah, my old home. 2 out of 3 of us lived in Etobicoke.
The only place we both lived.
It's true. That's true.
That's weirdly true.
That's true. 20 years between it.
Yep.
Wait, have none of us ever lived in the same city then?
Not at the same time, no.
Nope.
Not at the same time, no.
We went to the same high school, friggin' weirdly enough.
Yeah,
but we never lived in the same. We never lived in the same city at the same time, but we have lived in. Yeah, Andrew and I have both lived.
You and I are the only ones who have ever lived in the same
city at
same crossed over. Yeah.
Weirdly, 20 years between, and there was a whole 14 years between, or 10 years between when you left Etobicoke and when we met. Weird stuff. Weird stuff. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways,
life,
that was the last of my list.
Life is weird.
That was the last on your list. That's going to be... Yeah. I don't have anything else to add. I have all the actors from Letterkenny, but they're all Canadian, and they're all awesome, but
obviously
not worth talking about.
Yeah.
Well, they are.
I'm sure there are plenty that we missed that are still awesome and great, too. And we shut them all out. And if any are listening, be sure to, reach out.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike Myers.
If you're a Canadian... if you're a Canadian actress... and you feel like you got left out, talk to us.
Yeah, we'll bring you up next episode.
Yeah, 100%. You better believe we will.
It'll be the highlight of our week.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me at 47 Front Street North, Campbellford, if you want to just stop in and talk.
And get a haircut.
You don't even have to do that. I mean, it would be
But
good
you
for
should.
my
It'd be
personal
the best
publicity,
haircut you'd ever have.
But
Yes,
it will.
would.
I stand by that. I wasn't fishing for it.
Can
but-
you?
No, man, you both know you don't have to.
Now that that's our first advertisement
hair
ever
as
on this
proof.
podcast, how much are you paying us for it, Andrew?
Dude, I paid for the web domain this year.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That's my contribution.
And, I mean, every time we do a video episode, we are technically advertising for your shop.
That's
subtly.
true. That's true. Suddenly,
Anyway,
even I am. Anyways,
Do we
who
have-
else is on your list, Craig?
I just had
Let's recalibrate.
I just had Jared Kiso, Nathan Dales, and K. Trevor Wilson, who are all in Letterkenny. K. Trevor Wilson's a fantastic stand-up comedian. He's been in other stuff. Mark Forward, also in Letterkenny. He's a stand-up comedian, Canadian, hilarious. That's it. That's all I got. I had Donald Sutherland, and I was waiting to see if either one of you were going to mention it on your list. Like a
We already
test.
had that tangent.
Yes, we did.
So I guess we should move on to what we watched this week.
You better believe it.
Well, Scott, since you mentioned it, what did you watch this
Yeah,
week?
man.
Well, I already mentioned that I watched both the Bill and Ted's.
Yep.
Those are still awesome. I got the double pack from Amazon because I didn't feel like getting them separately, and I'm cheap. I think it was $5. Got them.
Excellent.
Two in one, exactly. And they still hold up in my opinion. Some people like
They
us.
do. They're dumb humor for the sake of dumb humor.
And they're like the perfect kind
hilarious.
of dumb humor too, because there's some
Yeah.
dumb humor where you're just like, oh, everyone's just getting kicked in the balls, and it's like, I get over that. But this one feels a little like smarter, like planned out dumb humor, and it's like,
well, they have historical references and actual life conundrums that come into play. It's a lot. It's like if you take any Seth Rogen movie and you just add some form of sensibility to it.
yeah. But I rewatched those, and they're still awesome. I love them. What else I watched? I finally checked out the new Ghostbusters remake with the ladies.
You poor soul.
Is it because Chris Hemsworth in it?
That's the only reason I watched it. Yeah, actually.
I knew it. I figured.
I love that guy. Like, he's actually my biggest man crush ever. I love that guy. But yeah, no, I watched it because I was also curious to see how they did. I kind of see what some people resistant against it for.
I watched,
but I don't think it was like the worst movie ever.
I scrolled over it on Netflix this weekend, and I watched like the crappy Netflix trailer that they put together because they don't have a real one, and every single bit in it made me just. Like the longer I watched it, the more I was like, "There's no way." I thought about it.
There is a lot of cringing.
Honestly,
I'll
thought
give you
about
that.
it.
I was just about to bone my girlfriend, but she said if we didn't watch Ghostbusters, there'd be no way.
Yeah, I started off with a good intention. I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it a shot, and then every single cut was like, nope, I can't.
That's fair. That's fair. There's a lot of like I said, there's a lot of cringe-worthy moments. But
well, that
I don't think it deserved. Like, it's not I'm not saying it's a great or good movie. I'm just saying I would give it a 50 to 60% if I was rating it.
Was it better than Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom?
Ooh,
Yeah, because you gave that a meh.
Yeah, they're both meh. I'd put them at like the same level. It's a very gray area.
Shit.
No,
That is not. Is it better than
Like my level
Ready
of
Player
enjoyment.
One?
I liked Ready Player One better than both of those though. So
Okay.
but
So I'm not going to watch
I feel like
Ghostbusters
I feel like neither of you would enjoy Ghostbusters whatsoever. Like I said, I'm not endorsing it. All I was saying was I don't think it deserved as much hate as it received. But I say that a lot about a lot of stuff.
Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
What do they use her as? Like,
it doesn't matter.
what
I
is her
can't watch a
role?
movie with her in it.
She's the.
Did they use her as the fat girl brunt of the joke?
No, they don't really.
She's supposed to be the
focus
smart
around
one,
that.
isn't she? That's what I gathered from
well,
the...
no. She's
Okay.
they're both. Well, they're all the smart ones. That's kind of the weird thing about this one, right? Like they're all scientists, except she's the one. Like she's the true believer, and then what's her Kristen Wiig, right?
Ugh, God, I forgot she was in it.
Yeah.
You lost me. I'm not
That's
watching
fair.
this. I can't stand
Again,
her.
I know. Like I said, I
Yeah,
don't think either of you would like this.
Well, it has
at
both of
all.
our. It has both of our basically deal breakers in terms of female
yeah.
actresses in it.
I get it,
The fact
guys.
that Kristen Wiig is in the upcoming Wonder Woman movie just makes me want to just abort mission on being a DC fan.
I wouldn't go that far. I
don't
don't mind her as much as you guys.
I don't mind Kristen Wiig either.
Yeah, you don't like.
It's Melissa McCarthy that I can't
stand
handle.
her.
And I
would rather Melissa McCarthy.
It's really funny. You guys both are on a little opposite sides, and I'm just like, man, they're both just meh. I get it though. I agree with both of you at the same time. That's why I met with it. I feel like it received a lot more hate. There was a few like stupid things, like the way, like Kristen
Wiig.
I feel like I'm saying her name wrong.
You
guys have me double thinking every name now.
You're welcome.
Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
It's Kristen Wiig.
Her, she was doing some weird cringeworthy like hitting on.
Caitlin Wiig.
She was doing some weird cringeworthy hitting on Chris Hemsworth character in it, and that was the one thing I could have used without. Like
I think that's just
get
her
why
bit,
it was
though.
funny. Yeah, and that's part of it. I just felt
she's really weird in Zoolander too.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I agree. And she's weird in a lot of things.
Except in Arrested Development, where she's not.
That's the one that stuck out the most to me. I was just like, oh no, I could have used without that. Like, why do we all have to sexualize Chris Hemsworth? He has a mind too.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen the new Vacation?
Pardon?
Have you seen the new?
Have
you seen the new Vacation movie? Like,
no.
I say new, but
it
came out like 2015. But he's in that. Yeah, he's.
I didn't know that.
He's the redneck cousin and super hypersexualized.
That's yeah.
And
I get it.
I feel like everything he's in that isn't like, what was that movie?
Thor.
Rush that he was in, and Thor.
Yeah.
Like,
well, even Thor a little bit.
But even that, like, it's not that bad. He's just more dumb than anything else.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay, let's be real. Like, he's an Adonis.
Well, I agree. Well, that's what I mean. That's what
I
think of.
Even Jessica Alba got left in the rearview mirror.
Well, you can make a joke about it. I just mean, don't keep going back to the same well for that same joke. Yeah, like, or that's the only bit you have with that character is you just making a joke because he's so pretty. It's like, yeah, I get it. He's pretty. And it's funny to make a joke about how crazy good looking he is, but
Scott, are you just jealous?
Yep. Scott's jealous because Chris Hemsworth is ridiculously
you were
good
a pretty boy once.
Once. Ow.
Really ridiculously good.
Once. Wow.
Ouch.
Hey, at least I gave us the benefit of the doubt by saying we were pretty. But thanks for stomping on the dreams there, Andrew.
Whoa. I never said, Craig, you and I were pretty. I just said Scott was a pretty
I take
boy
it back.
once.
I take it back. Hit on.
And I never even said Scott wasn't pretty. I just said he used to be a pretty boy. Like, you know that... Yes,
there's a difference.
Oh, the beach is that way. Like, the showing it off, you know? Like, that used to be Scott. He matured.
I don't remember Scott with the accent ever, but the rest of it, yes. That was spot on.
I have only ever heard Scott talk with that. Arnold.
That's the only way I talked in high school.
That was spot on, Scott. Yep. I feel like we all kind of had that weird high school bit.
Mrs. Cold, where's my homework? Mr. Gay, don't kick me out of English class.
Again.
So anyways, what else did you watch?
Well, as usual, I watched Supernatural, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Those are my rewatch shows. I finally checked out something that you guys are going to be happy about. Can you guess? I'm going to give you each one guess.
There's so many things.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's new.
It's on Netflix and it's newer. Just give a guess one each. You guys reference this one in particular a lot.
Newer. Oh, we do everything new. So many times. Okay, is it Can
you give us an actual
no, hang on. I got a more vague question.
Stand up.
Is it a stand-up special or is it something different?
Stand up.
Okay.
Is it the stand-ups?
No.
So you watched John Mulaney?
Is he Kid Gorgeous? Yeah, he's Kid Gorgeous. Right?
Yes.
You watched Kid Gorgeous. Yeah.
You heard about the horse loose in the hospital.
Yes, I did.
That's my favorite
Street Smarts.
That's my favorite politics bit
analogy.
ever.
Or is it analogy or metaphor? I never remember.
It's
both.
Both. Yeah. The hospital was inefficient.
That was my favorite thing.
I'm a fucking hippopotamus. I'm fucking crazy. You're fucking
In fact, I want you to look at this hospital because I want to stomp on your face.
Yes, and I get why you guys love him so much. He's hilarious. I'm going to check out some more of his ones. I wrote down... you guys can help me with this because I don't remember it now, but I wrote down that my favorite joke was the Last Supper joke.
Oh,
Yes.
What do you think they're celebrating?
They're at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and his wife doesn't. His wife thinks that Jesus is celebrating
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. I died. That whole
I
time,
hate
that
you.
whole end bit. I was just like, this is great. This is a perfect way to end this.
What do you
special.
think?
Every
they're
time he
celebrating?
references his wife
Yeah.
is hilarious. Like where she gives him just don't tell people you hate me. That's it. That's the bar.
There's so much more I can do with that.
Or the part where he's talking about the people that are saying all these negative things about
That hate-
Jews.
yeah.
And then he's
About the KK or the Nazis are back.
Yes, and then he's
I know that's my wife is Jewish. I know that. How do you know that?
I was over there on the bench.
I was over on the bench. Say more right now.
Yeah, you gotta stop the Nazis.
You gotta stop the Nazis.
You need
Street
You need
smarts.
to watch everything he's ever done, Scott.
Yeah, I'm going to make my way
yeah.
through it. I definitely will now.
You have to
I
do
think
Comeback Kid.
I-
You have to do New in Town.
Oh yeah,
The
They're
top
all
part-
And the
close
to-
enough
I
for
have
sure.
the
Yeah, they
I
are.
have
That'll
the
be easy for me. Yeah.
I have the top part on CD if you don't have Spotify, so you can listen
The
to
top
that.
part
I
is
got that at
the top part. The top part is what started it for us because the salt and pepper diner joke is the best bit of comedy I believe has ever been written.
What's new, pussycat?
Before I even knew who John Mulaney was, I loved the salt and pepper diner bit.
Well, I'll have to definitely dive more into the rest of his stuff. I definitely get why you guys like it and
Quote
reference
it
him so much
constantly.
now, and I get a few more of the jokes you guys have made in the past
Yes,
references.
Because it's so quotable.
Yeah, and I get
Like,
very much so.
The best part of John Mulaney, at least for me, is because I look at him and I see that super straight-laced, conservative Catholic guy.
Yeah.
Because he, by the everything about him, which is actually a joke he makes in one of his other specials.
I don't know if you
could tell that
from
by the everything about me.
It's so good.
And then out of nowhere, he'll just say, "Motherfucker, what?" And he swears, and I'm like, "Oh shit, he swears." I forget about that because he's usually a clean comic.
Yeah, no,
It just throws me off, and I love it.
Yeah, no, I liked his energy, and I thought he was really like his comedy was really clever. Like makes you think a little bit about how funny it is.
Story mixed with observation.
Exactly,
And
yeah,
I just
that's-
love
that's
his
Which usually is one or the other. His is kind of a combination
I love
of
his approach to everything
Like-
and the way he talks. It just makes it for me.
his college sending him the letter. How did
And
they
you
put it?
spent it
We want a
already?
gift. We want a gift, but only if it's money. Give us money as a gift.
That joke especially
It's-
stuck out with me now that you mentioned it too. So I just got my
And it-
college piece of
it's-
paper that cost me
yeah.
all the money, and I'm like, they're gonna ask
Yeah.
me for money soon,
It's-
and I'm gonna say,
Especially the build up to it. Speaking of which, Brock University sent me a friggin' email this week with 3 separate links to donate. I gave them $50 once.
you didn't even go to Brock.
One time. I never went to Brock. I sponsored a player on the tennis team. Okay?
What?
I sponsored one player. It might have been $100 at most. But now they're sending me 3 links.
Man,
And they're like, oh, donate.
the McMaster Children's Hospital, I gave them $50 once. Remember when the ice bucket challenge was a thing?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and
that was your
I
thing.
didn't
Okay.
do it, and I donated to the
Yeah.
McMaster Children's Hospital because I felt like that was the thing to do. And they've spent my $50 and then some, sending me letters to get me to.
You spent it already?
They could have spent it on anything else, but they spent it on sending me letters to my parents' house because I don't know who to call to tell them my address has changed 3 times since I sent them the money.
Yep.
And I don't know how to say, please stop sending me letters. I'm not going to give you any more
I
money.
don't care about those kids anymore.
I do care about those kids.
Those kids have gotten better.
And if I'm going to donate to any children's hospital in the GTHA, it's going to be McMaster. However, I already gave you my $50. Please stop spending it. And then spending everybody else's money to send me letters.
Yep. You might say that I gave them $120,000, okay?
to read.
Anyways, what else did you watch?
In a degree,
Scott?
in a language I already spoke.
To read books that I didn't read in a language that I already spoke.
Yeah, so I also watched, I rewatched The Grand Tour again because I'm on a weird thing of rewatching stuff while I do other stuff around the house.
Nostalgia, I feel it.
Yeah, I put
Recent
Thor Ragnarok
nostalgia.
on again too because it might be my favorite
So good.
Marvel movie just because it's that perfect, it's my favorite type of kind of humor. We all know that, I'm in love with Chris Hemsworth, so obviously.
For sure,
And
for
so
sure.
it's like, I just keep rewatching it. It's on Netflix. I love the soundtrack. I love the visual. I just love everything about the movie. I love rewatching it. I might get sick of it soon because it's like the 8th time I've watched it in the last 2 months. But
no, man.
it hasn't happened yet. Like
Thor Ragnarok, it's not quite as masterpiecey as Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, but that's an
but
artistic
it's
film,
the same level of
arguably.
you can just keep watching.
Batman versus Superman versus Thor Ragnarok. I would argue that Batman versus Superman is an artistic film compared to Thor.
Well, I'm just saying.
Ragnarok.
I was just saying. Like I wasn't comparing
Yeah,
them.
no.
I was just saying like it's
But if
like
you were-
that.
yeah.
It's not as masterpiece, but it is
It-
just as
They're
rewatchable.
awesome for
Definitely.
different reasons.
you definitely,
That's true.
like considering they're both superhero movies, I enjoy them both for very different reasons.
Well,
Like,
because their style is
Yes.
drastically different.
One is
Exactly.
one is fun
super
and one is
colorful.
perfect.
One is super colorful and the other one has one color. It might as well have been shot in black and white. It would look just as
If
good.
they had if they did like Logan in black and white, if they had that version, but Batman
that might
versus
be actually
Superman in black and white, I would bust such fat nuts. Like I wouldn't even try to cover it. I would walk around with stains in my jeans all
Are
the
you
time.
saying that you would
And
that you would sexually assault Batman versus Superman in black and white?
No,
That's
no,
what
no.
it
It would be
sounded
sexually
like.
assaulting me because I wouldn't be prepared for it, and it'd be like, shh, shh, just let this happen, and I would be like, okay, Batman versus Superman,
The sound effects.
because I would walk.
I'm serious.
I would walk
CBC.
around.
Pick us up. The sound effects here are
I would
so
walk
good.
around with stains in my jeans from that movie in black and white, and people would be like, look at Andrew. He's heading to work. He's gonna go cut hair. You just watched Batman versus Superman black and white again.
There goes our government of
And I wouldn't even
Canada
feel
funding.
guilty about it.
Thank you. We're no longer going to get the arts funding.
Sorry, guys.
we have no more listeners.
We're not getting any federal
Your
funding.
mom, this is where your mom left listening to.
My mom knows how I talk.
That's fair. That's actually very true. That's where my grandma left. No, she didn't make it this
Sorry,
far.
sorry, Nana.
Anyways,
Sorry, Nana.
the last thing I watched was I checked out this new show actually called Comedy Bang Bang. Have you guys heard of that?
Yes!
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it, but I've
Scott
heard of it.
Aukerman is the funniest person.
I really am enjoying it so far.
Isn't
it's really
it?
hilarious.
Isn't it great? See, I haven't
It's
picked
really
it up.
great.
I haven't picked it up again in forever, but that's one of the first things I watched on Netflix. Like it was Comedy
Okay.
Bang Bang and Arrested Development for me. And
All right.
I love that show.
No, I just
It started
I've heard
off as a
about it
podcast.
before. Yeah, well, see, that's kind of how I think I've heard of it too. I think I remember like Joe Rogan mentioning it before. Or
Well,
something along those
everybody's
lines.
been on it.
Yeah, that's what I think. It was like
Everyone
everyone's
has been on
Comedy.
it.
Yeah, no, I'm noticing that watching it, right? Like, that's what I like about it too, right? You get this celebrity who comes on and just bees a goofball with this goofball of a guy, and I'm like, this
That-
is great. Like,
He's so funny.
like this one point he says, like, man, this is what I told myself when I was growing up, that one day I'd have my own talk show, I'd, do whatever I wanted, or said something like that to justify whatever this joke was, and I'm like, man, that's the best kind of TV shows, I think. Like, especially talk shows, it's like where the guy just has always wanted to do it, and he just gets to finally like get let loose, and that's what I feel that show is, and I'm really enjoying it so far. But yeah, that's the last of what I watched this week. What did one of you guys watch? Who wants to go first?
Craig, you want to take
Cool,
this?
cool. I can do that. So I watched. Again, it's an ongoing series because they got rid of Joel McHale, so I have nothing else to watch on a weekly basis. So I watched the new episode of Explained, the Vox show.
Right.
Yep. They did esports this week, which was
Oh,
probably my least favorite of all of them. Interestingly enough, because
Even worse than Bitcoin. Eh?
That's funny.
I like
I kind of believe
the
it though, too.
the Bitcoin episode was good, except I knew it all because I'd already watched all the in-depth stuff. But
Fair enough.
like the
Fair enough.
yeah, it just, I don't know. It was interesting, but yeah,
It's not subject to care about.
Well, but the funny thing is, I didn't really care about K-pop either, but I found that interesting. But esports just seemed boring. I didn't know that I cared about the racial wealth gap, but apparently I do a lot because I've watched that episode like 3 times because it's really interesting. That came off in an awkward fashion. I obviously cared about
a little bit. I care about the racial wealth gap.
I'm like, I didn't say you didn't.
Beforehand, I did care about the racial wealth gap. However, I didn't know that I wanted to watch a
I
documentary.
didn't think I cared about it. You came across very Aryan.
Yes,
right
I know,
there,
and
Craig.
it's unfortunate with my blonde hair and blue eyes that I said that. I feel like everyone knows. Just so we're clear.
No proof of purchase.
I'm the one who cleans up all of the stupid stuff of this podcast that is deemed to be not PC, Scott. And I'm also Dutch, not German. I watched.
German.
I've never seen Ted before. I watched Ted this weekend.
You say Ted?
The movie?
The movie, yeah, I'd never seen
With
it.
the teddy bear?
Where'd you
With the
watch?
teddy bear.
Where was it on? Is it
It's
on Netflix again?
Prime, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Because they took it
Yeah, they
off
did.
Netflix and they have the sequel
Yeah.
there.
no, it's on Prime.
Okay.
So I watched.
What'd you think?
I liked it. It wasn't as good as A Million Ways to Die in
It's
the
pretty
West.
funny.
It's pretty funny, but it's also
I
kind of boring at the same time.
The
story
funniest
sucks.
parts are just the way Ted and Mark Wahlberg are together.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the funny part.
Yeah,
And
that's it, really.
the other thing too was the weird guy who abducts Ted dancing in the living room.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite scene, just because it was.
He's just a weird
it
dude
was
to begin with.
So
Yeah.
ridiculous.
He always plays some kind of strung out guy. I'm
Exactly.
remembering this right guy, right?
He was in Gangster Squad.
Yeah.
And he played like the smart one of them who gets offed. And I was like, ooh, I kind of liked him in this movie. Of course you killed him.
He was also.
Yeah, you give him.
Wasn't he the guy that's dating what's her face in Million Ways to Die in the West, the prostitute?
Is he
Is
the
he in
guy
that?
dating?
I only watched
He
that movie
is.
once.
I think so.
Yeah,
I
he's the
believe
one that's,
he is.
What is her
He is.
name?
Yeah. The slap fight. This is what the practice is.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's the
This is what we
he's the
practice for, yep.
secondary character in that movie.
Yeah.
Um,
But with him and Sarah Silverman.
Sarah Silverman, that's her name. Thank you.
I do not like her comedy, but I like her.
No, her stand-up is.
I thought that was going to go a different way. I thought you were going to just be like, I hate her.
No, I like her. I feel like she'd be another person who I could, chum around with a little bit. I'd probably bail on her to hang out with Ellen Page, but
That's fair.
that's just a preferential thing. I feel like Sarah Silverman might be secretly smarter than me, whereas Ellen Page is. I know she's smarter than me, so like I don't have to try to feel like macho. Like I feel like with Sarah, she's like, "Oh yeah, did you read about the racial wealth gap?" And I'll be like, "Oh damn, I didn't."
I meant to watch that video that Craig keeps talking about.
Damn, Craig pushed it on me and I didn't watch it. Damn.
Really good.
Whereas Ellen Page would be like, "Come on, Craig told you to watch." And I'd be, "Oh, I'm
It was
sorry,
really
Ellen."
good. I'm telling you, I learned a lot about housing in
Life.
Housing in the States in the 50s, 60s, and the way that they tried to keep neighborhoods white, which kind of leads into the next thing I'm going to mention, because I watched Suburbicon again. Remember that movie?
I did not make it that
on,
far.
Man, I watched it because I knew you were going to watch it.
I will watch it by next week. I've had stuff going on.
I
Okay,
forgot that
my
we talked
girlfriend went to
about watching
Ireland
it.
today.
So I watched it again.
I don't know if I acknowledged saying that I was
Now 4 people have seen it, and that includes me twice.
2 times.
I actually liked it better the second time I saw it, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
It's
Okay.
Still,
What's that?
it's still a pretty good movie, even though it's not great. The thing is that there's a lot going on in the movie, and there's a plot line. I don't want to ruin all of it because you guys are gonna have to watch it eventually. I'm gonna
watch it. I will have it watched by next week.
It's really hard to not watch a movie with Matt Damon in it that was directed by George Clooney.
Yes.
So even if it is not
and
great,
George Clooney's got me. Like Hail Caesar, love that movie.
So there's this. It's about suburban USA, and the movie starts off sort of with a black family moving in, and then there's a whole thing about that where it being an issue. And so there's this entire racist subplot where the neighborhood's trying to get rid of them and making them feel completely unwelcome. And it's almost too in your face with the whole, like, the second time I watched it, I kind of realized the subtlety of the whole point. It took twice to get through it. But the first time you watch it, it just feels like they're being really in your face about it. But it's better the second time through, I guess.
Is Julianne Moore in that
Yes,
movie? I feel
twice.
okay.
She
2
plays
times.
twins.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
It starts off.
You got me sold.
It starts off as a really like it seems like it's gonna be a really dull movie, and you think you got it figured out, and then at about I don't know, maybe 45 minutes to an hour mark, it just falls completely apart and takes this really weird turn. It's great.
Awesome.
In that way.
I'm psyched.
In that way, it's great.
So
and
psyched.
Megan watched it with me, and the entire time she's like, does this happen? I'm like, watch the movie. And then something else would happen. And then it would be like, does this happen? Watch the movie. And then something else would happen.
That's such a
it's
girlfriend thing to do, man.
Like, why don't you we're watching the movie. Just watch the movie.
I'm watching the same things you
I
are.
know what's going to happen, yes, but watch the movie. It's more interesting if you don't know.
The movie will
I was
tell
over
you
there
in
on the
time.
bench. I was over on the bench.
So I watched that. I watched The Nice Guys. Never seen that before. But I apparently don't have an issue watching Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe
Russell Crowe, yes. Ryan Gosling.
do random things in the 70s.
That collar alone is worth
I
it.
thought it was. I thought that movie was so funny. It doesn't.
We should bring that back. We should wear 70s collars with leather jackets with the collars over the leather jacket collars.
Yes.
Can that be our thing? Can we bring that
Can
back?
we also hire the same band that was in it that did Earth, Wind, and Fire impressions the entire time? Because that was really
yes. Yes, as long as Paulin is there as
Okay.
well.
Well, he's eating olives in the corner.
Okay. Do you remember?
Mort Goldman, you've hit rock bottom. I continue to watch the Vietnam War documentary. It is very, very long.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
I
How far are you
have
through
made
it?
it through the first year of
Isn't it
the
like
war.
17 hours or something like that?
Yeah, it's 17 hours long. I've made it through 4 episodes now.
Hot damn.
Yeah, it's like 5 hours. It's a long
Yeah,
documentary.
you got a lot.
I still
It's a
have a
ways to
ton to go.
Yeah.
I've been taking breaks, and I was looking at the other Ken Burns documentaries that are on PBS, and I almost started The War, which is World War II, I think. It's either World War I or World War II. But so he did three war documentaries. He did the Civil War,
Yeah.
the War, and the Vietnam War. And I've already watched the Civil War, and I'm watching the Vietnam War. So I thought about starting the war, but then I looked at it and went, no, I'll go back to the West and I'll nap through it. And I watched Letterkenny season 5 like a good Canadian, drinking my Puppers beer because they have that, the fake beer that they had in the TV show. Of course, someone makes it, and it is delicious.
Right on.
That's
Is that your list?
That's all I have to say about
Oh, okay.
that.
I was waiting for some dramatic
No,
conclusion.
that was Jay Baruchel's in the is in one of the episodes as a alt-right crazy person trying to
That sounds weird.
protest the name change of their soccer team from the Letterkenny Chiefs to the names that they have. So probably one of the funniest conversations in that episode is that they're talking about the name change, and one of the first and the highest rated suggestion is the Letterkenny Rough Riders, because there aren't enough Rough Riders in
Canada?
yeah, because
Nope.
it wasn't good enough that there were 2 of them in the CFL at one point. 2
Yep.
in a 9-team league.
Ottawa? Saskatchewan.
The only
Saskatchewan,
The only spelling difference between the 2 of them being that one was separated into 2 words.
Yep.
So the first one is Rough Riders.
Go Riders.
The second one is the Muff Riders, which is really, really a good name.
Hitting that one right on the head.
Yeah.
Right on it.
I don't even remember the other ones. One of them was the 69ers.
Of course.
There were a couple other ones.
Weak.
But yeah, so
The Muff Riders is way classier.
it is much better. Rough Riders wins. And the joke is that there's all the other soccer teams around them are all the Rough Riders. So they do this whole bit at the end where they're betting on the Rough Riders. They're like, man, I'd take the Rough Riders for $20 over the Rough Riders. It's the show is just ridiculous.
Very well Canadianly written.
Oh man. And they're sitting in the Ukrainian hall just drinking beer. And it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And yeah, but Jay Baruchel's in it, and he talks like an 80-year-old man, and it's just.
So he talks like Jay Baruchel.
Yeah, exactly. Except he looks like he's 15.
So he looks like Jay Baruchel.
Yeah, and he sounds like Jay Baruchel. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I watched. I haven't finished it yet. I only made it through episodes 1 to 5. There is one more episode on this season.
You got this. You'll have it. You'll have it done by next week.
Easily.
You'll have it done tonight.
I just wanted to
Let's
stretch
be real.
it out over 2 weeks for promotional reasons.
Fair enough.
That's my list though.
So, moving on to me, I finished Luke Cage. I finished episodes 9 through 13 because apparently there was more than 10.
Yeah, I forgot that was the thing we talked about last week. Was that I dropped that bomb
I finished
on you.
it.
Yeah,
I finished it.
And
I liked it. It was definitely my favorite season of any of the Netflix
right on.
superhero stuff.
Cool.
Granted, I wasn't a huge fan of most of the other shows. However, I really thoroughly enjoyed this season.
That's good.
It was fun. It was nice to see Luke Cage's character have some story arc.
Yeah, like he actually goes
to see him have a dark side. Yeah, he had a dark side to him that he was trying to suppress. It was kind of nice to see Rosario Dawson disappear.
Yeah, like
a
as
third
bad
of the
as
way
that
through.
sounds, it's nice that she
I like her, but at the same time, it was nice to see them focus more on the superhero and not how they it made sense in each of the individual shows to have her tie them all together and have that connecting.
Yeah.
They all know Claire, but it was kind of cool to see them say, "Okay, well, peace out, hombre."
Yeah, I'm gonna go, which it was a completely understandable reason too.
Yeah, for reals. I finished that. I watched a little bit of Last Man Standing, started that over again because they've got the new season preparing to drop in August, I believe.
Yeah, sometimes not too long.
I think it's August 13th or something it drops.
Something like
Whenever it is,
Yeah.
it's next month, so I'm very excited.
For
so I was like, I got to get back on that Last Man Standing bandwagon. Catch up with some Eve. So I've watched that. I watched a little bit of the Blue Planet again because sometimes my mind just needs to be blown by wildlife. Humans suck, and animals are fucking boss. Okay,
They're majestic and mysterious.
and way better than us in most ways. So I watched Ant-Man again in preparation for this coming week when Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out. And I forgot that I really thoroughly enjoyed that movie because it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie.
Yes.
I watched it and I kind of get the sense that it's like one of the Marvel movies that happened before the MCU.
Yeah, no,
where
I
it
agree
was
with
just
that.
a totally different style. Where it's technically a Marvel movie, but it's not part of the MCU. That's what it feels like.
No, I agree. Because if they had taken him even if it was just a random, not Marvel Ant-Man, but just we came up with a new superhero. His name's Ant-Man, and we got a movie for him. Just invented it out of nowhere. I could that movie would still make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that it's connected into the Avengers at all with one scene. Well, it's a lot more connected in, obviously, but that's the main connection in is not integral to the story.
Where they show Falcon,
Yeah, that's not
where they show a secondary character to tie it in.
exactly right.
And then they name drop Captain America. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's and I mean obviously they're all connected in because it is part of the MCU, but it's just I think that's
and
really
they do
interesting
talk about it. Shouldn't you call the Avengers? And nah, we're better than
Yeah.
that. We don't trust the Stark.
Stark. Which I still love.
So-
I love Michael Douglas in that so much. Such a great job. Such a great.
Love his
hero.
hair.
Oh, I went beard. You went hair. I like it.
Oh, ox. Oh, awkward.
Well, no, they're both
So,
good, I imagine.
That's true. Speaking of Ant-Man and Evangeline Lilly, I watched Real Steel and realized that she is in it. That was kind of the real reason I got into Ant-Man or watching Ant-Man again, because I was watching Real Steel because I love me some Hugh Jackman. Yeah. I love huge jacked man. Love it. And then I was like, oh shit, that's Evangeline Lilly. Love her. I like her without the bangs. It's nice. So watched that, then moved on to Ant-Man. I went and saw Incredibles Dose, and let me tell you, it was worth the more than half of my life wait. Yeah. Okay? I may need to find a grown-up version of my Incredibles Letterman jacket. I would wear that.
I know exactly what coat you're talking about.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've seen it, Craig.
Yeah.
You were in a feature film that it was incorporated.
I know. Little do the listeners of Forgot to Grow Up know that once upon a time, Andrew and I were in a feature film. We directed, produced, wrote, and acted in.
And starred, yeah.
Yes.
I like that
Good
he
luck
said
finding...
acted, but you said starred.
Well,
yep.
That's true. We were actually.
Well,
We were the stars. You were the antagonist. I was the protagonist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boom. We were the stars.
We were the stars of Le Revanche des Nerds.
Absolutely. Not to be
confused with Revenge of the Nerds. They're
confused with Revenge of the Nerds. No, very different.
Two entirely separate universes. Not in any way.
Absolutely. I was Biff Tannen. Related. He was Marty McFly.
It was.
Anyways,
it was a really good. If you can find it, first of all, if you find it, tell me.
Send us the link.
Because I haven't seen it in years, and I would love to.
I really want a copy of it. I have people who I want to show it to. So I watched Incredibles 2, and it was an incredible movie, for lack of a better term. Absolutely amazing. Scott, I know you won't see it. Craig, go kidnap one of your siblings and go watch it.
I gotta wait till it's on digital rental.
Fair enough. Maybe just wait for it to get on Netflix so that there's no paper trail, Scott.
That's fair. I like that idea.
Mm-hmm. So I also watched Family Guy, and then I started watching The Ranch, which I hate and enjoy at the same
Isn't
time.
It
like
terrible?
I can watch it for.
It hurts how
it is so bad.
You know what? You know what'll make up for it though is that if you keep watching, Juliet's in it.
Is she?
She is.
Is she a main character?
She's
or is
a
she...
kind of side character, and she comes in later.
Okay.
But she's in it.
Okay.
And it's weird to see her there.
I'll keep watching it. I hate how like everything's so played out. Like you know what's coming at the beginning of the episode.
Oh.
Like I think I'm 8 episodes in, and like from episode 1 or 2 when they introduce her, I'm like, oh, obviously Ashton Kutcher and Aletha Cuthbert are going to get together. Yeah. Obviously, it's going to happen. No questions asked. It's happening.
And yet you still watch it because you're addicted to it, and that's how it works. That is exactly how. You just want to watch Sam Elliott talk about ranching and be like, man, I wish I was that badass.
See, Sam Elliott, and then I forget who the actress is, but the mom in the show.
Maggie?
They're really the only two. They're really the only two people I'm super into.
And then Clint shows up
because, like,
he's only in a couple episodes. Though.
Yeah, and same with like the brother too. Yeah, I like him.
He's
I know that he had. Yes.
If you could just have Ashton Kutcher in the show, it would be fantastic.
Yeah. For like honestly, if they had cast him with anyone else, like it would have been perfect. Like I feel like the arrogance of Ashton Kutcher's character, not him, but the arrogance of his character.
How many episodes?
That's what takes me out of it. 8.
Okay, he gets better.
I fucking hope so.
He does. He eventually learns that he's not the be all and end all of existence.
All that.
Yeah.
He's not
just because
he's not all
just
that
because
in a
he
bag
played
of chocolate.
For a non-existent CFL team.
I also did not like in episode 1 where he's talking. He name dropped Shania Twain and getting arrested for it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they have a hotel in Saskatchewan that's all ice." And I'm like, "God damn it! Come on, Hollywood writers, you can go look into the fact that Canada isn't just nothing but fucking igloos."
Well, he did play in Saskatchewan, so
it did snow actually in
for
BC
a non-existent team.
Summer.
Yeah, but.
It's really hard
to make our own
case when it's snowing in BC. in July.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's the only reason.
That's true.
Otherwise, I would have been on your side. Because I was going to make actually a rant video about that, like how Hollywood kind of... Because sometimes I like it, sometimes I think it's funny, like how they do in How I Met Your Mother.
It depends on the way they do it. Like, yeah.
It's like How I Met Your Mother being afraid of the dark. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah,
right?
until they end up...
because that's
It makes no sense.
Because that's not a real thing, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
But when it's a little bit
But
more... I know what you mean.
The more obtuse, where it's like there's actual Americans who think that's legit what Canada is. That shit aggravates the piss out of me.
Yeah, I could understand that.
It's not all snow. We have 2 seasons in most of this country: snow and black flies.
Come to Campbellford right now and stand by the water. I guarantee there is no ice anywhere in town.
No, but there are tons of black flies.
Canada was the second hottest country in the world actually over the weekend. I think I saw that.
There we go. You tell me there's some type of ice hotel? I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure that the golf course we were at on Saturday was the hottest place in Canada.
I think it was the hottest place in the world, man.
So warm.
I swear I lost 5 pounds.
I might have too, which is dangerous.
That's all I've been thinking this last week and a half. I'm like, I actually have to hydrate now. I'm scared.
I'm concerned.
I'm very.
I'm also concerned that we might lose some listeners because this is going to be a long episode, so we should wrap this up.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Is that your list? Are you done?
Thanks for listening. That's the end of my list.
Thanks for listening this week, guys.
Bye.
I just want to give a shout out to my girlfriend.
Oh.
Have a good trip in Ireland and bring me back a shillelagh, please. Love you.
Dun, 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 dun.
Bye.
Bye, guys.